Welcome to Dean Smiles episode 24 and another series of the way we saw it and the way I saw it and hanging out with a dear friend. Um, Most important, thank you for being here. I'm Dean, a retired middle school science and then later STEM teacher, and now looking back and reflecting and seeing how smiles are built into my day and what they do to help me feel better and tapping into some of those smile experiences through the week. Since last time, oh, it's been busy. College football is going. We went to the lake with friends, hanging out watching Ethan and Owen play football. Neighbors are wondering why I'm sitting on my deck talking. And today's episode is looking back, and the reason this episode came about is you've already seen two episodes right here and right here, the way we saw it, part two, and when we went on the Verdi train together with Dan and Rhonda. But Dan and Rhonda came to the lake and we hung out over Labor Day. So much fun, reflected on things that made us smile, and looking forward to the future. Dan's got some big news. I won't let it out now. Sorry, Dan. Gotta let it go. We got together. We did some fishing. We did a whole bunch of laughing. We even got the golf clubs out and tried to hit the ball. Well, we found the water every time. We were trying to find the water, but just laughing, having a good time, smacking the ball into the water. I don't know why that's so satisfying, but it sure put a smile on my face, and you can see it put a smile on his face. I almost forgot since last time. We talked about Lindsay in one of our previous episodes. I get a message from her. We get together and spend 2.5 hours just hanging out and talking and reflecting. Lindsay's 30 years old. I am so fortunate to have such a cool kid that wanted to stay connected, and boy, that could be a the way we saw it episode, because there were definitely different perspectives from the teacher perspective and then hearing back from the student as a sixth grader, as a middle schooler. So it was cool. Then we sat around by the campfire and talked about where teaching is at now, where teaching was when I left 2 years ago, and where it was 20 years ago. He gets pretty fired up in the best way about teaching. You know, I'm very passionate about it. There was a experience that we both really tapped into and talked about, and it was Camp St. Croix. Well, take a look at our reflection, the way we saw it, and the things that made us smile looking back over 20 years ago when we did this experience together. You can see I'm not by myself, but starting right here. Dan, my brother from another mother, is visiting. Him and his wife Rhonda came down this week, and welcome.
Thanks. Even though the trip is almost over, it has been an exceptional run, especially now that we're going back to Minnesota for some late winter snow. But spectacular being here. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate being invited to do this, as well as the many things we've done this week.
Yeah, this has been cool. And Dan and I go way back. We first met in the fall of '99. What would you say one of our memory items way back?
Well, this one we did pre-discuss. There's just like a list of things type, but Camp St. Croix. So we used to take the kids, and I miss this, but we would take a group of, let's say, 160? What was the group size? What was the team size?
We did, yeah, one time we were over 200 because two teams went at the same time.
So we're taking a bunch of teachers, bunch of kids, 200 some kids, to a camp in Wisconsin. It's like an hour away from where our school is. But we take them, and it's 3 days and 2 nights of all you can handle sixth graders. And I mean, overnight meals, all the drama and trauma that comes along with sixth grade. I forgot about the story. We're not going to tell that one. So we go to Camp St. Croix, right? And we're hanging out at camp, and there's all kinds of interesting things that happen at camp. Boy, a fun piece that always resonates with me was a game we played because it was an ecology themed camp, Predator Prey, and I always made sure that this is back in the right post college kind of days where it's like I can run down any sixth grader in the group. I can almost run them down now, but there's a couple athletes that can get away from me now. But it was just fun chasing the kids down, and they enjoyed it too because their teachers were participating in what their experience was, rather than standing on the side and going and looking for all the problems that are constantly existing. There's a problem. Let's put that fire out. Okay, let's go back to having fun.
Oh, it was a cool experience, and it started out awkward because we mixed. They knew someone on their study group, but they were also going to be with people they had not been with or met since it was early in the year, and so organic, and it would come together. And we didn't know how good we had it with Camp St. Croix until budgets and the teaming situation changed, and we didn't have it because it solidified our team.
Right. Well, I compare it. I never served in the military, but I compare it to a boot camp, an event that works together as a unit or whatever. Once you have a bonding experience, you can always lean back on that as a conversation piece. You're back at school and you're looking at the food that you're having today. It's like, oh my God, didn't that food at camp stink, or wasn't it great? Or do you remember the time when you accidentally flicked it and doll caught you? And those common experiences are what pull us together. And that's part of what we were looking for. Is we went under the guise of ecology, which was part of our science curriculum, but really it was, how do we pull these? How many feeder schools do we have? Like 5?
Yeah.
So how do we pull people from 5 different elementary schools into, now we are a middle school. We together are this middle school, not your elementary school, your elementary school, your elementary school. And we need those common binding events, I think.
And in getting to know, our kids knew the bulk of their team in some way, shape, or form because their study group, they were meeting new people. Then in their cabin group, they were meeting new people.
And meal group. And
then all of a sudden, it grew in such a neat way, and I'm so thankful that we got to do that. And then the adults, after we would do cabin check, we would sit and talk way too late, But it's so funny, if the school tells you to talk shop, we don't want to talk shop.
Yeah, no. Are you kidding? Another workshop? But yeah, yep.
But when you have the opportunity, you can. Here's my 2, and Dan will tell you about the story he told. But
as long as it gets edited out.
Yeah. So the 2 things, and Reed is one of them. Good friend of ours, special ed teacher, and he came out and he had a challenging group, but he always spun it so positive, and it was a shell game staying ahead of it, but he did his due diligence, got the right parents for the right cabin groups. And one of the dads just said, I need to get to Starbucks and stuff. And Reed thought he was sending me a message, giving me a hard time about what did the dad get lost going to the Starbucks. And in reality, he sent it to the dad. Oh. And there was some fun, flavorful vocabulary in there. And the other one, I don't know if you remember this, because it was really laid out nicely. You put all the girls were on one side of the camp, all the way on, a long ways.
Divided by a ravine, you can only get over, there's one path over the ravine, so it's nice and isolated.
But the boys think it would be fun to scare the girls' cabins and tap on. But there's only one way next to the ravine to get to the girls' cabins. And if you stand in the shadow of
And
those
you
trees
don't move in dark.
and don't move, you can scare kids big time.
They blend in pretty well.
I mean, remind them what the right choice
Encourage
is.
them to make the right choice. Yeah, right.
So, what if kids wanted a real scary story?
They'd have to wait till they got home. Yeah. So this could be a good one of how we see it. I see it differently now. Only, yeah. So we have to have a talent show. Each cabin had to put on a skit of some sort, or entertain the crew for any number of seconds, minutes, whatever it was. And I've always enjoyed being scared to a certain degree, like with Halloween and stuff. And the kids are like, "Tell us a story." It's like, "Well, I got one, but you can't handle it." "Yes, we can. Blah blah blah. And I'm thinking back, it's like, well, when I was 12 years old, I could probably manage it. I'm good with this. And I kept playing them back and forth, and finally I decided to tell a story. It's the wrong story.
Yep.
So
yeah, we don't want to. We're not going to say what it was, but it was the wrong story.
Let's go with that. I appreciate that. Wrong story. And then my response to it was the wrong response after the wrong story. So kids are legitimately scared. It's a dark, rainy night, and I set it up that, hey, it was a dark, rainy night, just like this. And the 12-year-old brain bought into my Kool-Aid, and lights were on the cabin for the entire night. Cabin parents were not happy with me.
No.
And my nope. And my response at one point was something and I don't know if it was directly to a parent or in an email or whatever, but it's like, "I'm sorry you were, how did I say it? I'm sorry you were afraid." I wasn't apologizing for telling the story. I was apologizing that, I'm sorry you were afraid. It was not the right response.
Nope.
And I think I had an opportunity to speak with our principal about that when I got back.
Dave was waiting for you.
Yeah, opportunities.
Opportunity.
Happened but once, or twice, or 3 or 4 times in my career.
And all I remember is the kids. I was dealing with a behavior situation, me and Ingman, and the kids. I mean, literally screaming as they were running back to their cabins after the story.
So I got back to the cabins quickly.
Yeah.
Look at the positive side.
Okay.
Well, there you have it. It was a cool team building experience that we just so cherished, and it really, we were smiling. So that's why I went back and I was like, I'm pretty sure I have some footage when we were together over spring break, and it just seemed to fit and put it in this episode. What's coming ahead? Finally, episode 25, monumental. My reasons that I smile. I think they're my 6 or 7 reasons. I'll be coming. You don't want to miss that. And then episode 26, we have a whole bunch of college football smiles. Alex, Sam, Adam, Dan again is going with Brandon, Tyler, Josh. Then we have a couple games in a row with the Potts family. You're going to be a part of that. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here. You have no idea how much it means, and it's fun being part of a collective community, and the comments mean so much. Thank you. As always, keep smiling.
Smiling days we all can share.